This is a webcast recording for U.S. history. The purpose of this webcast is to review and discuss the spring final exam essay option number 1, dealing with manifest destiny. Well, before I bring the slide up with the prompt, I just want to remind you of a couple things that has been covered in the class. United States as a nation, as a group of people, has a particular personality or DNA. The textbook calls this the American spirit. So I'm just reminding you here of what the American spirit is. This bold gold font here is defining the American spirit and kind of the American personality, and what drives us from within is this idea of manifest destiny. And for us as a nation, that manifest destiny has always put our eyes and our feet into movement going west. So our story, the American story, is really one of colonization and pioneering. Now, of course, there's other elements mixed into the American story. But as it relates to manifest destiny, it's a Western movement which started all the way back from the original colonial peoples traveling westward across the Atlantic, coming into what was called the New World and establishing roots. And from the East Coast, that movement is constantly to the west, and until the objective of manifest destiny kind of fills the continent with other peoples other than the local inhabitants of the Native Americans. The rest of this list here in white, these bullet points, are really just kind of outlining some of the, I guess, characteristics and some of the internal forces that describe the pioneering. So of course, this pioneering instinct and experience that's really driving a Western manifest destiny does have some significant imprint, not just on the continent of North America, but the globe. And we know that part of our American story is once that manifest destiny was accomplished from East Coast to West Coast, the United States does start to look abroad beyond ourselves and starts to equate a particular mission as a part of the American spirit, and that is to take that which we value of ourselves and transfer it to the world. So we see a strong westernization, a strong civilization, Christianization, capitalization, democratization process around the world that the United States is participating in and in large measure driving. So this is really the kind of review of manifest destiny that I want you to consider as you think about this essay option number 1 for the spring final exam. Remember, there's 2 options that you're considering and preparing for. Only one of those will be selected and placed on the test, and you will not know which option that you will write on until you receive the exam on the day of finals. So here's essay option number 1. Since the establishment of the first 13 states and the formation of the United States of America, the nation and its people have been driven to expand. Whether it is expanding American boundaries or American ideals, the United States has been inspired by the notion of manifest destiny. That is really the setup here of the prompt. which now leads us to the question and the task that you will have to fulfill, and that is answering this question. How did the modern interpretation of manifest destiny impact American policies and actions during the 20th century? Now, of course, we say modern because what this prompt is focusing on is the second semester material, which picks up at the latter part of the 1800s when we looked at American imperialism in our first unit of the second semester. And of course, you can see the prompt is taking us to 2014 of today. That is, of course, in the 21st century. But you have everything in the second semester to really look at, examine, and to try to figure out what do you see as a manifest destiny impulse that is driving American actions and policies. Now, it's important for me to make sure that I emphasize the teacher note. So one of the things that you would fall into as a trap is just thinking that this is a essay focusing on our first unit of American imperialism. And of course, that unit is critical as it relates to this essay prompt. But I don't want your thinking just to be reserving the American imperialism story as the only part of the only way to answer this prompt. So please consider the whole semester, not just Unit 1 of American imperialism, but the whole semester, and consider the role of the United States of America as it relates to expansion and intervention. And of course, I have some categories here. We can see the expansion of boundaries or other territories. We're talking about land, the expansion or intervention of military forces. We have the role of money and a financial self-interest. And of course, cultural and ideological elements can be considered here as it relates to American attitudes and values that we have, which could be political systems, economic systems, social ideals of equality and liberty and such. So really, you want to be thinking about American foreign policy. How does the American experience and the American spirit of looking beyond, of pioneering, expanding, and intervening had something to do with American foreign policy